Welcome to the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 181. Addy! Oh! He will say
Oh,
nothing. Oh no, he said something. Fuck. Pink, he will say nothing.
nothing.
God damn it, I hate you both. Pink, what you got coming out on your channel this week?
Oh, what do I have? Let me actually open up my files real quick because I don't remember what I have. Hades. I know I said I was gonna get Hades up last week, but I didn't get that up. But it will be coming out this week, so that'll be the episode 2, but actually 3, and then so on. And more Aztec. Byzantium started coming out, so I've got Civ 5, a Byzantium playthrough. It
That's
goes
still.
terribly.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it still cracks me up that the first one you decided to record is the worst goddamn Civ in the whole game.
That's why I chose him. I think I might have said it when I started recording. I was like, I looked at a Civ 5 tier list. I saw Byzantium was close to the bottom, and I said, let's do it because they've got a lot of bonuses to religion, and religion seems quite redundant in Civ 5, so let's do it.
Civ 5 is religion in Civ 5 is nice for a lot of big bonuses, but there is no such thing as a religious victory in that game.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think the only ones who compete for that bottom spot with Byzantium are, I think, Denmark.
I don't know about Denmark. I don't remember where they placed. When I looked at it, it was like the bottom three were Carthage, Byzantium, and France.
Yeah, those all make sense. So Civ 5 though, I will say is the funny thing about Byzantium is like their unique unit and their unique building aren't very good, right?
Right.
Their unique ability is fantastic if you can actually fucking get a religion, but you don't get any actual bonuses to getting the religion. So if you don't
Hmm.
pump everything into rushing religion as soon as possible and everyone else gets all the religions, Byzantium's unique ability just is entirely null and void.
That would suck.
Yep. And there are several civs in the game who do actually have abilities that are devoted to just getting a religion as soon as possible. Like it's like I remember when I was trying to get good at Civ 5, one of the major early points of the guide it would say with religion was if someone gets a pantheon in the first 10 turns, you know that you're playing against Boudica.
Ah, yeah, because she gets like free faith from unimproved forests, and those tend to spawn a decent bit.
And she spawns with them.
Yep.
So Boudica's whole perk pretty well there is you don't have to worry about actually getting a religion. Just worry about what you'll do with it.
Yep.
Civ 5 was weird because they were starting to go a bit crazy with those Civ abilities. Or Civ 4 was just like unique unit and that's it.
Yeah.
But then Civ 6 was the one that just went off the fucking rails and suddenly every civilization is an Overwatch character.
Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing throughout my playthrough. It's like every Civ has a bonus. The bonus kind of doesn't feel impactful though.
Depending on the
Whereas in
Civ.
Civ 6, the bonuses make or break the Civ, to be quite honest.
Depending on the Civ, because like something like the Shoshone, you notice immediately.
Oh yeah.
Anything else to say about Civ 5 real quick while we're just on the topic of what's coming out on your channel?
Not a lot. There are a lot of things that I like better about Civ 5, contrary to Civ 6, but there are also a lot of things I despise about Civ 5, in contrary to its predecessor. Like
Eh,
the
eh.
road management, it's a lot more fun in Civ 5. I I enjoy building the roads and the railways and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in Civ 6, that's all dictated by traders, and oftentimes it'd be nice if you could select what route the traders would go in order to lay down the roads, because sometimes you want to make your own roads to sort of semi-important location for all your troops, especially if you're like getting set to go to war with a neighboring civilization and you haven't sent a trade route their way, or you have a trade route already going that way, but the road they made isn't ideal. Like if it's going from the east to the west and you've got all your troops in the north and the south, it's like they're gonna be taking just a little bit longer to get up to that road to take advantage of the movement bonuses. So yeah, roads are a lot better in 5. Not as nice in 6.
Nope.
But the money management I feel is a lot better and more forgiving in 6. I think more forgiving is just Civ 6 in general. Civ
Barbs.
5. What's that?
Barbs.
Oh, barbs. Yeah, the barbs. Yeah. Oh yeah. In 5, good lord, and in
Yeah,
6, there's quite a difference between the two.
in Civ 5, barbs are only really relevant if you're playing like the Aztecs who want to farm them. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
most civs like only will ever fight them just to get them off of land they want to claim. That's it.
Yep. And yeah, I was playing obviously as Byzantium, and I would have barbarians wander up to Constantinople, but they just sort of stand around and get pelted by arrows or boulders, whatever the citizens decide to throw at them that day, and they
Oh
just
yeah,
stand there and take it. It's no big deal, kind of
that's
just unfriendly neighbors.
that's the most forgiving thing about Civ 5. It's the only Civ in the series where you don't need to have a garrison sitting in your city. The city can just defend itself without
Hmm.
walls.
Yeah.
Which Civ 6, like to be fair, it made domination play in Civ 5 way fucking harder, which is why Civ 6 undid it.
Ah.
Like early rushes in Civ 5 are virtually impossible. I tried to do an early rush with the Aztecs and just got instantly fucking stomped by
Whoops.
by city defenses. So, domination civs, generally speaking, in Civ 5, until you can get good siege weapons, which of course takes a while because the catapult's a bit shit, you generally
Right.
speaking are going to be using your domination perks and military stuff just to farm barbs, which is a bit gamey, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, farming, like, in certain contexts is fine. Farming in certain contexts is like, just roll your eyes like, this makes no sense. Like, why would we deliberately let this barbarian group stay alive just so that we can kill their people every 50 years?
Right.
Because it makes us feel good, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Alright, and you also played Hades. So, I'm going to assume you've not... have you even run into the big man?
Not on the PC, no. I've
Okay,
not gone
okay.
that far. Elysium is as far as I've gotten in. I was about to say Civ in Hades on the PC.
Yes, because you've not got as much night, or have you even unlocked all the weapons on PC?
No. Um, I still have yet to obtain the shield or the. What else am I missing?
Gun?
Yeah, I don't have the mighty rail or whatever it's called, and I don't have the fists of what is it, Malphon?
Oh damn, you've just been skipping over all the keys of darkness, haven't you?
I've been hoarding the keys of darkness. So
Oh,
I got the Coronaut and whatever the Bident is called, but those are the only two that I've actually unlocked, and I think I've got enough keys to pick up uh probably the shield as well at this point, but still not a lot of keys. But I'm being very conservative with the keys for no reason at all, really.
yeah, I would key like for me with Hades. Every time I finish a run, I spend them if you got them. That's what I do with Hades constantly. Even like just
Ah,
with gems, like it seems like buying things with gems, buying upgrades to the palace unlocks more upgrades to the palace. So even like with gems, I get back and I immediately go to the architect and I'm like, here, just do something with this.
I
And Hades every time
I
it's just
actually
like, oh
haven't
god
done a
damn it,
lot
you
with
make the
gems like
worst.
at all on either
What?
platform.
What?
I What's that?
I'm sorry. What'd you say? We were both talking at the same time because I like the sound of my own voice.
Ha! I was saying I hadn't used the gems all that much in on either platform, so it's like I spent them to get like a little healing pool in probably the first and second locations. I don't think I've actually got one set up in Elysium yet. And aside from that, I haven't spent any gems, and I am pretty sure I haven't spent any gems on the PC, but I also probably don't have that many because I tend to, if I have the option of going for gems or going for some other bonus, depending on the room, I will usually ignore the gems.
But if you do get the gems, for one thing, that progresses some of the side quests. I know of at least one relationship that requires you buying a shit ton of upgrades for the cafe to progress, which Soon has told me about. But also,
Ah,
but also, I think buying more and more gym upgrades unlocks the diamond upgrades, which are super fucking useful. Have you seen them yet?
I have not.
Okay, I won't spoil them, but they are like they're great. They're great, basically.
I like it.
And with that said, have you had any like particularly weird experimental builds or runs on PC so far?
Not anything weird. Hmm.
I gotta
No,
ask
not
because
really.
I've only done so recently myself. Have you made a build yet where you just kill people by dashing?
I actually have not.
Well,
Unfortunately, that'd be funny though. The
I
dash abilities, uh, I don't think I've come across a lot or that many of those. Hmm. I probably
I
have, but
thought
I probably forgone it for other bonuses or perks. I
I
did get
thought
to finally try out Dionysus's grenade thing, which I loved.
yes, it's great. That's
Yeah,
I love that as a cast, but I'm also partial to Ares Bladewind.
right.
Oh, and of course, Artemis's snipe is just fucking phenomenal if you can get a good crit rate.
Absolutely.
The only cast that springs to mind for me of just being like, why is Athena throwing the fucking phalanx for some reason?
Right.
Which sounds cool in concept, but a cast that moves slowly and reflects projectiles isn't as useful as you think it'd be.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because she pretty well always offers it alongside the choice of just doing it on your dash instead, which is way better.
Absolutely.
But what I wanted to say about the dash was like I got the Poseidon perk that makes it where you do the splash at the end of the dash that has crazy knockback. I got a I think Aphrodite perk where you when you start your dash where you just left your dash leaves a burst of weak. I got the Hermes perk for 2 extra dashes. I I got the Artemis perk for increased damage on dashes. And then I got a Poseidon perk that causes double damage on wall splats, double knockback, and also increased damage from knockback on bosses. And that's one of like the five. Well, actually, I think it's now like 8. That's one of the 8 times I beat Hades was just by dashing into him a time.
I love it.
Yeah, just boy, what are you doing? Uh, all right, Addy, what you got coming on your channel?
Nothing.
Okay, on my channel, I don't know. I keep saying Street Fighter. I never get around to actually recording Street Fighter. Fuck me. There is definitely going to be coming up some more FOS uncut footage from my perspective. Definitely one for Left 4 Dead 2. Also, maybe something with Mike. Maybe Dead by Daylight. Maybe not. We'll see. Definitely trying to plan to do something with Mike this week, though. So that's pretty much the extent of what's going up on my channel. Let's see what is going up on the group channel. On June 7th, Monday, it's Strider Part 3. On June 8th, Tuesday, it's Left 4 Dead 2 FOS plays featuring me, Addy, Pink, and Mick.
IS or Irish representation, Mick.
Mick Rickman. And on
Mick
Friday,
Buzz Dude.
Friday, June 11th, Ratchet and Clank Part 4. All right. So, Pink, what you been up to this past week, man?
That's a good question. What have I been up to? Let's see. What did I do yesterday? Oh, yesterday I picked up Gladius. I'm
I
not
saw
sure if it's
you play.
Gladius or Gladius.
They say it at some point in like the intro, but I won't pay attention.
We'll call it Gladius for now until it's confirmed to be Gladius.
Warhammer
So I
40k,
picked that
Roman
up.
Sword.
What's that?
I said Warhammer 40k, Roman Sword.
Roman Sword, yes. I like it.
Yeah.
It's probably Gladius then. Um, yeah, I picked up Gladius. It's on a really big sale right now. I believe it was 76% off.
Yes.
So I was like, "Yep, I'll be grabbing that because it's something you had mentioned previously."
It's
So
weird, isn't it?
yeah, it was fated this way. I just need a Street Fighter to go on sale, and then we've got summer set up.
Whew.
So I picked that up. I played it for a little bit, didn't put a lot of time into it. I thought it was very unique. There were a lot of mechanics that I didn't understand because I was more or less ignoring the tutorial pop-ups and just
Yeah.
clicking things.
By the
So,
way, by the way, there's a kicker there. That tutorial stuff is like main quest line stuff, and there are big
oh no.
rewards. There are big rewards for hitting the stuff. Like you've also got your usual Civ objective of like kill everyone else, but there's also do that gets rewards. Also, don't go through it too quickly, because there are certain quest stages that will spawn enemy units.
I think I've noticed that.
Uh-huh. And
There was definitely something that I stepped on that triggers some sort of legendary beast to spawn that
oh,
would have
that,
wrecked
that
my army.
that that may just be barbarians.
It was not barbarians. I can guarantee that.
Was it a big scorpion-looking thing?
I don't know. It was kind of, if memory serves correctly, it was kind of a big orb octopus type thing.
Ah, yes, the enslavers. Yes, those are barbarians.
Okay.
So remember, okay, so there's a tier list here, right? Like
Right.
Civ 5, weak, shitty barbarians that won't trouble you. Civ 4, the barbarians will snipe your unprotected cities, but that's it. Civ 6, barbs will pressure all of your cities. You need to be ready for this. Gladius, you forget about the other players for the first 50% of the game because barbs are such a fucking problem. If you see a big red robot with a rocket launcher on its shoulder, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, run the fuck away until you've got some serious firepower behind you.
Oh man.
Those things
Liberty
mean...
Prime is here.
No kidding. They have come to end, well, not communism. With the Empire, it's more Imperium, it's more fascism. But they have come to end fascism. They are something. I gotta ask, which race did you play? Space Marines, Guard, Necrons, or Orcs?
Necrons.
Ooh, Necrons are a lot of fun, but Necrons play the games differently than everyone else because they just ignore the food resource entirely. Because, I mean, they're robots. They're skeleton robots.
Right. What is food to them?
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but they can only build cities in certain spots, right?
I don't know. I've only got one city this far.
Ah, okay. I think that they have certain spots on the map where the earth is cracked. And the Necrons don't build new cities, they just unearth ancient ones. Because the Necrons are basically old space Egyptians that were like, hey, crazy-ass dark gods, turn us into robots so we become immortal, yo. And those dark gods turned them into robots. And then they were like, shit, this sucks. I hate being a robot. Now they're all pissed. Yeah, Imperial Guard and Orcs are both like classic Civ. They can plant down cities anywhere. Space Marines are Venice. They only get one city.
Oh.
But it's
That's
a really
nifty.
fucking strong city.
Oh. Oh man.
Uh-huh. They can also just drop, like, tower guns wherever they want, so that kind of fills in the city role of, like, holding defensive borders, right?
Ah, yes.
So how do you feel about that outpost system? Because I quite like it.
I do too. I really enjoy it. I thought it was very unique and I like it.
It's a much more proactive way, like, the idea of claiming luxury resources in foreign lands is a much is a big encouragement to be aggressive, you know?
Hmm.
Because like there are moments in Civ where it's like, okay, it's time for me to stop growing. Going farther from this is a risk. I'll wait and build my forces up. Whereas Gladius, whenever things are secure, then you're like, but I could put an outpost on that food resource over there and get more food though. And then you
Yeah.
and then you start a fight with a bunch of barbs, and suddenly you're like, oh fuck. I've put like I don't know 20 hours into that game, and I still don't feel like I've scratched the surface of like strategies to think of. That game, I'd love to put more time into that game.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely fun.
I I guess I should go ahead and also say Necrons are kind of strange in that. Well, for one thing, they're space skeleton Egyptian robots, so that's strange to begin with. But they also are like super tough. Like you'll notice your Necrons are beating the shit out of most of the things they run into, right?
Hmm.
That's not the case for Imperial Guard or Orcs. Imperial Guard and Orcs, generally speaking, it's you kind of have to rely a bit more on numbers. Space Marines and Necrons get really strong guys.
Ah.
And when you get to the ability to like heal and resurrect dead troops using power and teleport them around the map using power, that is really good stuff. You should use that. The last thing I want to note as just a little tip there is that loyalty mechanic there, and loyalty gets worse the more cities you have. But it seems to me to have minimal effects. So just don't give a shit about your people being unhappy. Fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah. Why should I care?
Yeah.
These people are nothing to me.
Yeah, you're the great pharaoh of the space skeleton temple. Bow down, you bottom feeders. All right. Anything else you got to say about Gladius?
Not really. No.
Okay.
Didn't put a
Anything?
lot of time into it, so I don't have a lot of opinions outside of my initial ones.
Yeah.
But aside from that, did I even do anything else this week outside of work? Let's see. Hmm. What did? Oh, I watched some stuff on YouTube. So, are you guys familiar with what's it called? What's it called? Defunct Land?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so quite a while back they did a bunch of episodes on more or less the career of Jim Henson and the Muppets.
Huh.
So I watched that. I thought it was very good, but it kind of falls off at the end because they have it's more or less like an auto. It plays out like an autobiography until it gets to his death, when they kind of start going all over the timeline, and it just kind of feels very incoherent. So it was a good series up until they start talking about his death, and then it feels like they kind of went for a very cheap feeling route where they were more focused on emotion and not a lot else. It felt very disjointed from the rest of the series that I otherwise found very, very good.
Yeah, I would say with
So,
childhood symbols like that, like especially at their death, people tend to fall into that really quickly, where they kind of go
yeah,
that sainthood after death state where it's like, well, we can talk about his life a bit, but death, like, ooh, you gotta keep that, respectful.
yeah.
Anything else?
Anything else? In addition to YouTube, the Oversimplified channel had their Napoleonic Wars episodes come out, which I thought those were very good. Are you guys familiar with that channel?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't watch Blue's historical stuff as much though. I more so watch for Red's trope talks.
No, you're thinking of overly sarcastic productions.
Oh god damn it! Why are those?
Oversimplified is another historical channel.
Yes, I know who Oversimplified is. Now that you clarify, I've only seen
They're
Oversimplified's
similar
video.
names.
I've only seen Oversimplified's video on the Three Kingdoms, which was a very fun and entertaining video while still being educational. So I should probably watch more of their content.
Yeah,
Yeah,
their
I
stuff
watched
is
it.
top tier.
I watched a bit of their stuff, but I still prefer OSP.
Yeah,
OSP is very good. They're both very good channels.
I will say that they both try to walk the line between humor and actual, like, trying to tell the history, but overly sarcastic definitely leans a bit more on the history, and overly serious leans a bit more on the comedy.
Yeah.
Which I think works, because, I mean, with overly serious, they've got animation skills, and those aren't quite as useful if you aren't going to emphasize it for jokes, whereas overly sarcastic, god damn it, I hate this. Overly
The
sarcastic.
Mixels brother.
Overly sarcastic, they clearly don't have much of an animation budget to go around, as you can tell by the narrator splitting, like, just swapping between 5 different sprites.
Yep.
But both the narrators have great voices, so they just put that to effect,
Yep.
I mean, the animation budget for freaking overly sarcastic is just whatever Red draws.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Did I say budget? I guess I did say budget, didn't I? I guess in a sense it's budget, because it's still time budget rather than budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And time, as we all know, is money.
Indeed.
I mean, I can tell you about fucking budget when it comes to animation. Oh boy.
I believe it.
Did you know that saying time is money repeatedly over and over again makes you a financial genius?
Did you know
Wow.
that
Why am I not rich?
Did you know that saying time is money three times in a row into a mirror summons Walt Disney?
I don't know if I want that.
It summons Walt Disney, and Walt Disney rips out your soul and sends it to the fucking child star mines.
No, he appears behind you in the reflection and says, "You are now owned by Mickey," and then he leaves.
We're already owned by Mickey. Let's be honest now.
The last hope of the world against Disney. It's, 10 cent?
Oh no. I kind of prefer Disney at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, Disney would happily support a genocide, but at least they're not doing it right now as we speak that we're aware of.
That we're aware of.
No, Walt Disney's frozen head was put on a mech and it's genociding people right now. We just don't know about it, so it doesn't matter.
There's a fucking giant Walt Disney
right.
mech walking around and no one noticed. Oh, man. What are we talking about?
We were talking about Oversimplified and their
Yes.
Napoleonic Wars. So
Okay.
yeah. It was a two-parter, and they both came out on the same day, I believe, and they were both very good. And I actually did learn a bit more than I thought I knew, because it turns out Napoleon was born on a little island that had just gone under French control, like the day of his birth or whatever.
Corsica, right?
Yeah. So in an alternate universe, he might have been born not a citizen of France.
Wasn't he
kind of
Italian?
weird.
Like, isn't Bonaparte French
Corsica
version
and
of
Sardinia are pretty much
Bonaparte?
Italian.
Yeah.
Like I was just because I just remembered learning in history class that his name originated from Italian.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but Napoleon was actually made fun of by other Frenchmen for his Italian accent, right?
Yep.
Ha! And when they later exiled him, well, they exiled him to Cyprus at one point, didn't they? And then later that didn't work, so they exiled him somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta admit, there's something funny about sending a guy off to an island and you don't know where the fuck, And he comes back because he's fucking Napoleon, bitch. You know.
That's what
That's
I
like
love about it. It's
that,
like not even that he just up and left the island. It's that he went back to France in order to try to take back control of France.
it's like something that would
Napoleon.
happen in a movie, and you'd roll your eyes and go, "Yeah, as if."
Yeah,
Right.
like it would be a scene where they show them dropping him off on the island and then cut to him soaking wet, standing on the in front of like the freaking, oh, I'm forgetting the name of the parliament building, whatever, the parliament building, and he just says, the news of my exile have been greatly exaggerated.
Man, take the fucking beginning parts of Star Wars Episode 9. Somehow Napoleon has come back.
Yeah.
Isn't there like I think it's a Simpsons meme where somebody's throwing somebody out the door, and then in the
Yeah.
next panel,
Yeah,
that
Mo
person
throwing
is
at
right
Barney.
behind him.
Yeah,
What
Mo
now?
throwing at Barney.
Ah, so yeah, that's basically what the Napoleon exile was until they did it again.
It's just a looping gif of that. Mo throws Barney at Barney, appears behind Mo. Mo grabs him, throws Barney at.
There you go.
I love it.
Left it in the text channel.
Perfect. That's the one.
And now I gotta find a GIF, because someone must have made a GIF, right?
Probably. Oh, there's the official Evo moment. Oh, lordy. When do we do that? Somebody needs to talk about that monstrosity.
What monstrosity?
Street Fighter, the original.
Ah,
Oh, God.
good question.
Yeah, I'll let you take the floor on that one.
I didn't know he also throws
Excellent.
out Homer.
Is that the same scene? I don't think that's the
Honestly,
same scene
like,
because
he's
I
wearing
don't think
the
that's
same
the same.
outfit. Yeah, that's gotta be the same
He's wearing-
scene, because Mo never dresses like that.
But no, look at the bricks to the side. The bricks are drawn differently. It's a different scene.
Right, but Mo never dresses like that. So does Mo, like, throw Barney out 3 times in a row?
Maybe.
I wouldn't doubt Barney, honestly. Wasn't there some episode where they revealed that Barney's, like, actually this great, highly skilled genius when he's sober, but he's just never sober?
Maybe I remember something like that. I think.
It's just all of Europe, Napoleon. Actually, I'm pretty sure I posted that meme to the history thread on the Forum of Solitude. Hang on. Let me go get that. Let me go fish that up, because I'm pretty sure I fucking posted that. God damn it, I'm losing my mind here. I feel like I've posted that somewhere. Holy shit. Somebody,
But yeah,
like,
yeah.
you keep talking while I find that.
All right. But yeah, as for Street Fighter 1, like we'll have to decide on a date when both of you are available for like 5 hours, because we are doing it, and I have decided as well that I'm going to do it on the freaking hardest difficulty, make it a proper
Oh,
boss
no.
stage.
Oh
I'm
no.
good to do it anytime. Whew.
I
But, like,
will
that will
maybe
take, like,
get on
5 hours.
Wednesday.
You'll what?
Think.
Oh, me? I
Yeah.
was saying I might be free on Wednesday. I will be working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So Wednesday morning, I should be good to record with you guys.
All right.
June 23rd, 2019, I posted this picture to the Form of Solitude history thread.
Oh man,
Uh,
that is great.
oh man, oh boy. That's an underused one right there.
I
Oh, I
love
feel-
it. I love
I
that
feel-
that happened.
I feel like we could almost do that with, like, just label it FOS YouTubers, and then over Mo, and then over Barney label it Terraria.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. We keep coming back. We don't know why. We don't even like the area, but we keep coming back.
I enjoy it, but I'd be lying if I said it's not quite a bit of work and agony to get to the joy.
Yeah, like we have fun with Terraria, but at the same time, grind.
Yeah. Ooh.
And then also with this most recent playthrough, freaking keeping a fucking list of when you unlock shit so that we can spawn them in and we don't have to grind.
Also, instant kills. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
Whew. Alright, what were we talking about? Right, overly serious, doing a video on
Oversimplified.
Napoleonic Wars. What's up with that, Pink?
Not a lot. It basically goes semi in depth, but not too in depth because it's oversimplified on basically the rise of Napoleon and all the way up to when he was exiled and freaking died like an idiot because he was not immortal somehow. But yeah, watching that, I was surprised slightly that people they tend to remember Napoleon obviously as a great general that he was. The thing is that a decent amount of his wars were actually defensive, which I feel like that is kind of lost in translation. I feel like most people nowadays think of Napoleon as a great conqueror, which he was, but
I
he
mean,
wasn't a warmonger.
Pink. Obviously, most of his wars are defensive. He was French. I had to go for it. It's the obvious joke.
To be fair, that stereotype pretty well started as soon as Napoleon was defeated for the final time, so...
Right.
It's arguable whether it's the end of the Napoleonic Wars or the start of World War I that led to France being a meme for bad at war in Europe, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Things just went so poorly for them in the World Wars and Vietnam, they just went, alright, fuck this, we're done.
Nobody survived Vietnam.
France is really good at warring itself.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you look over history, everyone's good at warring themselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How many civil wars has England had in the last 2,000 years?
Yes.
All of them.
I mean, do we only count the ones that are in like modern day England, or do we count the freaking the colonies as well? 'Cause
Oh boy, if we count the colonies, that would take too long. Holy shit. Like, thankfully it's not so much for the last 400 years or so. But for a good while, Civil War was pretty much as time-worn of a tradition in England as it was in, say, China.
yeah.
America's got to catch up. We got rookie numbers. We got to pump those numbers up.
And people need to get on Hungary's level and get with the mix-up, because we have a revolution that was also a freedom fight that was also a terrorist attack or whatever the fuck the Soviets decided to call it. I forget,
Yeah.
but like only like in the past like 10 years, people have stopped calling it all three names, because it went on like I forget when it happened. Fucking hell! But like freaking, like for us, it was a freedom fight. But there were people who were who got along better with the Russians. So they also called it what the Russians did, which was it wasn't a terrorist attack. It was a freaking just a riot or something like that. So for a long while, people couldn't agree on what to call whatever the hell that was. When the people tried attacking the Soviets and then died to get out of Hungary.
Right.
I think in the States we've always just called it the Hungarian Revolution because fuck the Soviets.
But yeah, like I remember like even freaking when I was young, people still call it by all three names, and only in the last like 10 or 15 years at most have they stopped.
What do they call it now?
It's just a revolution now,
Ah, okay.
usually.
Yeah, I guess
Like I think yeah.
Hungary's not been one for too many civil wars because they've always had foreign threats, haven't they?
Yeah, we didn't have much time to fight ourselves because we are too busy being fucked by the Turkish or the Russians. So
Yep.
Or the Mongols, or they just whatever
Yeah.
comes east of Europe, Hungary is like, oh god damn it, not this shit again.
the San Andreas meme.
Yeah. Home, or at least it used to be.
Before they stole the children and made them into Janissaries.
Oh man. Alright, what else did you do this past week, Pink?
What else have I done this past week? I don't think I've done anything else. A little bit more 2K19, as I noted before. This is a funny story I want to bring up real quick. As I noted before, I had been modding it. So, something interesting actually occurred, and apparently for one thing, I mixed up some files. So I copied and pasted something onto something that shouldn't have been copied and pasted. So I downloaded a Becky Lynch attire, a more modern one, to kind of update it. And when I put it in the attire slot, I assumed I had done everything correctly, but apparently I had actually put that, turned that attire slot into a more or less a reskin of the character entirely. So Becky Lynch then came out as Deonna Purrazzo. So something got mixed up there. It was supposed to be an alternate attire. What's that?
Who is Deonna Purrazzo?
You would not even begin to understand.
Magic monster,
Beyond
apparently.
your understanding.
Yeah.
She's one of the old ones.
One of the old ones. She was wrestling in the E, on a not actual contract between the years of maybe 2016 to 2019. Because she had been with Ring of Honor, so she was doing a, what did they call it? Pay per appearance, I think it would be called. She was basically enhancement talent on NXT for several years there until she actually got signed to NXT. And then the great migration of 2020 occurred when everyone freaking lost their jobs, and she was one of those people. And then she went to TNA and has more or less become their face of the women's division out there. So that is who Deonna Purrazzo is. So somehow her model got ported over into the Becky Lynch alternate attire slot.
Thank you.
And so that's what caused Deonna Purrazzo to come out in Becky Lynch's place and freaking win the women's championship. So that was interesting. I thought it could make for a cool story. I just have to take off the alternate attire and actually get it correct. And then I'll just have Becky feud with Deonna. Because I don't know who to call champion. Because it was supposed to be Becky Lynch, but Deonna Purrazzo was technically the wrestler in the ring somehow.
Becky uses shifting powers.
Yeah,
it's confusing. I'm confused.
Yeah, Deonna came out wearing a Becky Lynch morph suit and just fooled everyone.
No. She was very.
Which logically means she's worthy to be champion.
Yeah.
She was wearing a very shitty wig. And only that, and that fooled everyone.
I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. I don't know how the mods got mixed up. I think I've gone back and checked through the files, and the ones that I inserted were correct. So maybe the game glitched and this was a one-off, or maybe I actually did do something wrong and the alternate attire was put in incorrectly. But Either way, the situation has been remedied, and I don't know. I just thought it was a kind of a funny story. So
Ping the
yeah,
freaking ping the coding for the 2K or the wrestling games overall really run on like freaking stomach lint and freaking whatever goodwill Vince has left in his body.
you're
Don't,
probably
don't
not wrong.
don't expect them to work properly.
Outside of that, I don't think there was anything else I did this week.
Okay. Eddie.
All right. So now that we're done with Ratchet and Clank, I went ahead and started another playthrough of Ratchet and Clank because I have nothing better to do with my life, and also I don't think I ever freaking did the Omega weapon upgrades, so I went ahead and tried those out. Some of them, they don't do much.
I don't remember if I tried them out.
I mean, that's pretty much exclusively a New Game Plus thing, so yeah, probably
Oh.
not.
No, probably not then.
And yeah, I mean, Ratchet and Clank is fun. But
Yeah.
it wasn't worth starting a freaking new playthrough over the Omega weapons because they don't do nothing really.
And
It's
they don't
just
know anything either.
yeah.
Stupid non-knowledge having bitches.
But what else did I do? Well, obviously I played a lot of Street Fighter 5 in oh, what's the word? Whatever. In getting ready for FGA,
Yes.
the revival.
I was
I've
pleasantly...
only yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
I've only gotten through Street Fighter 1 and 2's arcade modes with every character, and at this point, I don't think I will go through all of the games because there's not enough time. Well, there could be enough time if I just grinded it out. At the same time, I don't want to. So,
Yeah, I definitely have finished the Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter 2, and like half the Street Fighter Alpha story modes. I just don't want to do the rest because it's like, oh fuck, playing against the AI. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
I mean, it's not even the playing as the AI. It's like, oh, freaking like yeah, the playing as the AI because it improves the ever loving shit out of you, but also Gil.
Yeah.
Go just once try going up against Gil on normal in Street Fighter 5. He is genuinely harder than Third Strike Gil on 8.
Yeah, because you can do bigger
Genuinely.
combos.
Yeah.
Like Street Fighter 3 has relatively small combos, honestly. So five kind of shows it up in that regard, and Gil especially.
Yeah. Although my favorite was when I just like very narrowly freaking straight beat Bison in 2, and then the game is like, hey, heard you like fun, so here's level 8 Shinakuma.
Yeah, as it should be, as it should be. I
And
love secret bosses, even though I'm never good enough to actually run into them.
oh, you haven't faced Shinakuma yet?
No,
Oh,
and for that matter, I only ever ran into who was the super version of Nightmare from Soul Calibur 3?
Abyss.
No, Abyss
Oh,
was
that's
the
not
guy
good.
you fought at the end, the Zoslamel.
Yeah.
Evil Zoslamel.
Yeah, I mixed them up. There was a
Night
super version
Terror?
of Nightmare. Yeah, Night Terror.
I only ever ran into Night Terror once in Soul Calibur 3, and he instantly just fucking drop kicked me off the stage. So that was, and there was no second chances against him. So that's pretty well the extent of me seeing secret bosses in fighting games.
There's no second chances against Shinakuma in this game either. He spends the freaking the match doing nothing but like basically he Shinakuma Shinakuma's AI was programmed to be like, hey motherfucker, you complained about not being able to zone? Alright, let me show you how to zone. And then he just makes the entire screen freaking projectiles.
Oh my.
Does he get to do fucking neutral air Hados?
Dude, he gets unlimited V trigger 1.
Oh no.
Yes.
So if he gets meter, then it's just like, oh, instant
No,
raging demon.
no, he starts off with full meter and it's unlimited. There's no timer, he doesn't run out.
He's just permanently in V Trigger 1.
Yes. Because he's Shinakuma, and V Trigger 1 is just going to Shinakuma mode. Which makes sense. but like like the CPU Shinakuma is the reason why making Shinakuma not playable makes sense, and the way they made Shinakuma playable is not fun. So so it's a lose-lose. Because like when you go into V-Trigger 1, you get to do 3 moves maybe, and then it runs out. So you don't get to actually like have fun with being Shinakuma, because it would be too oppressive. So it makes sense, but it's not fun.
Ow!
Uh,
Ow!
so
Fuck.
yeah, there's
Shit.
so there's that. Obviously, we did the Street Fighter recordings. I
Yes,
originally
we most
wanted
certainly did.
I originally wanted those to be like a proper series, but then like I've been trying to edit videos in ways that make sense for the game rather than just what I want them to be. Because like as good as it would have been to have another like freaking 12 videos of going through Third Strike just trying to get to Gil, who would watch that? So instead, I yeah.
There's a lot of videos we make that I don't think we're bothering to get actually people to watch.
But yeah, but sometimes I'm like, like I just like think about what I want out of the video when I go, would I watch that? And like I don't know if I'd want to watch a series about going through the arcade ladder, you know?
Yeah.
Like I either a full uncut stream, which I do have, or a freaking or an edited down thing where it's just mostly the highlights or shit like that, which is what I got uploaded to the channel. And there's also the Sagat, and the Sagat, like the thumbnail for the Sagat video for Street Fighter 1 is not quality, but it's like it's the right amount of quality for Sagat in Street Fighter 1. Let me see if I can fish it out. Like I think it turned out pretty good. There you go. Like I think that summarizes the Street Fighter 1 experience pretty good.
The fucking Sagat face. Which face
I also
is Which face is
Yeah.
better, the headshot or the face in the actual sprite where he's just oh
I don't know, but I also changed the text.
oh yeah, I see that now. Oh, Stinky. Jesus Christ.
That took me a whole 10 minutes to make, but it was worth it. Quality shit post. But I mean, isn't that the Street Fighter 1 experience? We will be back for his head. Anyway. Speaking of the Street Fighter recordings, I was going to animate the Bison 316 bit that we did, but I listened back to it a couple more times once I was done with the freaking the like throwaway version of the first frame, and I was like, you know what? I'm not sure if there would be enough change in the actual movement for it to be like funny as an animation, because it would be mostly like one scene. So I just went ahead and made it a picture instead. Because whatever. So there's that. Aeon is very jank.
I love it. Vic Beef Dictator.
Yeah. Look, I'm proud of having come up with Jaguar Tooth. But anyway. So I did that. And then what else did I do? Well, last week I did talk about how oh yeah, I did make the animation for the other thing, the Ratchet and Clank bit with Pink.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if it's good enough to actually release, because I'm like, there's still parts that I'm not 100% satisfied with, but I'll never be at the same time.
Very true.
Like, for it to get to a level of animation where I will be satisfied, I think I'll need to split into 30 like unpaid interns at an animation studio, and then maybe then. So I don't know. I was originally going to actually give Pink cliff flaps in that video because it looks weird that his mouth doesn't move, or like, well, it looks weird that he doesn't have a mouth, I do, and mine moves. But like after spending 2 days doing nothing but animating, I was a bit fed up with animating, and I didn't feel like I didn't feel like separately animating the lip flaps for all three camera angles, for all freaking all vowel sounds. Because the difference between, like, the reason I animated my mouth movement is because I'm a fucking wolf. My mouth movement requires 3 frames and it's good enough. Like, you know, and there's no different vowel sounds because like, dogs don't have the required muscles to freaking move their freaking lips in certain ways. So it's fine. With people, you need to make at least 3 frames of animation for every vowel sound, and that requires a bit more work, which is why like people usually make separate lip flaps and then make just freaking like mouthless freaking stills. Well, like the commentary channels with the ransonas isn't how I've seen people present them to me as. But yeah, like that's usually why those people have lip flaps and then just like still freaking frames of movement that they switch between, is because you can just make the lip flaps once and then you can reuse them. With proper animation like this, where the camera angles change, you have to account for the camera angles changing. So you don't have to make one set of lip flaps. You have to, like, even with this 40-second video, I would have had to make 3 sets of lip flaps for Pink. And then there's also the thing where, because I don't own the most expensive version of the drawing software I have, my animation settings are gimped, so I can only animate 1 second at a time, which makes me, and also only at 24 frames a second, which limits some things, which actually show up in the finished animation, or like the semi-finished animation that I posted. Because I would like for example, with the finished animation, there's the part where I raise my arms, and that's supposed to be fluid. But you can probably notice that there's a jump between like the midpoint and the up point, and that's because I ran out of time. Because to make that animation fluid, it would have needed I made 5 frames of animation. It would have needed 8. And the thing with that is that technically, yes, I could have made it 8, but like that with how I spaced the cells out, and how the animation goes both backwards and forwards. The 5 frames of animation aren't actually 5 frames; they're 10, and the 8 frames would have been 16. So there was just not enough time in the 24 frames without freaking making the animation too fast. Like, technically, it probably would have benefited from having like dreams and shit like that, but and I could have gone with that route and also had the fluid animation, but at the same time, everything else was animated at around 12 frames a second just because I'm lazy, and it's also my first fucking animation project. Give me a break, like.
Absolutely.
I need to, like, I have no fucking experience with any of this shit. My only freaking knowledge of animating comes from watching one guy from Newgrounds got into like doing art tutorials and shit like that. And basically that's the only my only point of reference for how to actually animate stuff. Just watching his videos doing animation and just stealing ideas. But like, I need to warm up to actually doing proper like 24 or 30 frames a second animations. But the next one I will make, whether it be a freaking complete like redo of this one that I'm working on, or if it's a new one, if I just go whatever, just fuck it, it's good enough, and then just work on a new one. That one will probably be 24 or 30 frames a second because I was nice as some of the animation things, like well, actually checking if the animation is fluid and shit like that. Like as nice as those things are, being forced to animate 1 second at a time is such a fucking hassle that well that and also like making the colored animations. I had to animate the line art once, and then I had to animate the freaking colors separately as well, and that was not fun. Yeah, so
That's rough.
and so to combat that and also the time limit, I figured, hey, I can just like make all of the frames separately in the same file, but a separate bins with the bins of layers, and just make it so every frame has its own coloring and its own shading, and in that way I can have shading in the animations, which you can well I could have done with this thing, but like shading would have required three different three different things of animating for one scene, and yeah, no. But yeah, W also said that trick in that like because of how W said the trick in that I couldn't draw drawing myself cuter and shit like that. I did wonder because as I've said, I have tried actually drawing myself with eyes, but it looked weird, and it still does to me. But I mean, you can be the judge.
I think it works better. I think the eyeless one looks too creepy and dead, like a Silent Hill monster.
I think the eye pupils look fine.
Yeah, it humanizes me a lot, but like yeah. It will make it a lot easier to to make the first suit do this way because hey, you don't have to look for fucking like the see-through plexiglass that's white.
This is true.
But yeah, is there anything else I've done? Let me see. I feel like I've done some. Oh yeah, I finished Sonic Adventure finally. Sonic
Oh
Adventure,
man,
Sonic Adventure 2 Dark Side story is once again finished. It took me a whole fucking month because I did not want to see Rouge the Bat. I think you can understand.
I can.
But yeah, I beat it. It's done. I can send Pink over the freaking the save file whenever, and we can do the video on that too. For October, and then
excellent.
and then we'll just have to worry about all of the other like 6 games for this
Oh.
Halloween. But yeah, I feel like I've done something else. Like he did. Oh yes. So I got my freaking. Well, okay. Another thing. Yes. So two more things that I think that after that I'm done. So for one, finally, the 2018 best of is transcribed. I am not going to be transcribing any more videos. Fuck the YouTube transcription freaking UI. It sucks
Yeah.
ass. It is so fucking buggy that it's not worth it.
Yeah, that one's a hard no for me, dog.
Like, you can choose between like timing your shit and typing it out and timing it at the same time in the different like pop-ups, and then the pop-ups will be the size you want and all that for the subtitles. And that's how I used to do it because I want my shit to look nice, and how I want it. But the thing is, if you do it that way, you can't do formatting, and that sucks. They also have a text-based thing. They also have a text-based thing where you can do formatting, but then you can't do the timing.
Oh.
And I had to do that because the one with the timing kept breaking the the one with the timing just didn't really work with the whole playback and thing, and then it turned out that the playback is just broken, and sometimes the video that you're trying to transcribe just doesn't load, and then sometimes it does, but then it like just forgets to have the freaking the controls on screen, so you have to control the freaking the video with the keyboard shortcuts YouTube has, and then also type at the same time. and then do that back and forth. And then also, if it does that, at some point it just decides, hey, I'm not gonna load the video anymore.
Well,
So yeah. So that's why it took me 4 days to transcribe this 20-minute video, because it kept like freaking like I would go into the transcription menu, and I would press the thing to continue writing the transcription, and it loads up except for the video. So I quit out. I do it again. It loads up except for the video. Quit out. Do it again. All right, this time it loads up. I transcribe like freaking 4 sentences worth, and then it just forgets where that the controls need to exist. So then I quit out, and then I load it up, and it doesn't load. So I do it again, and then this time it loads, and I can do another 4 sentences worth, and then it goes away, and then I go fuck it, and just start freaking doing it in the keyboard shortcuts, and then I get as far as 8 sentences, and then the video just stops because it doesn't load anymore. So I had to quit, and then I go back in, it doesn't load, and just this ad infinitum. So yes, as nice as having like freaking subtitles is, and as much as I wish that we could have them, because both because like it makes things more clear, and it also means that like people with freaking hearing problems can watch the videos too and stuff like that. It's too much of a fucking burden. YouTube makes it too hard to properly accommodate people like this.
Unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then yeah, I got the last thing is I got my freaking my arcade stick apart once again completely, and like I decided to follow the wiring this time a bit more closely, just to see if there's something that would make the connection issues, because like, you know, heat shrink tubing can get brittle and shit like that, but it's not yet. Like, it would need like extreme cold and freaking hot variations for it to get brittle enough for the connections to break, really, or it would need a lot of movement, neither of which are really present from what I can tell in the fucking fight stick. So it makes no sense why there would be no contact between the wiring and the connector pins. So I was like, well, something has to cause this, and I'm not 100% sure. And I'm going into the furry voice again. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. So, but yeah. So like, I'm not 100% sure if my hypothesis is correct. But from what I could tell, the connectors for the two down buttons, or yeah, the two well, basically this is a four-way gate. This is a square gate fight stick. So there's four switches on the sides, and 2 switches being engaged is how it decides if you want to go diagonal. So the ones that connect to the two sides, like the ones that connect to basically the two sides of down, is the best way I can describe it. Those go into one plug, and the plug seems to be like ever so just ever an ever so slight way freaking like slid out of where they were supposed to connect to the PCB. And there's no real good way to fix this from what I can tell, because there's pins, not pins, there's these pegs that hold the plastic pegs that hold the PCB in place, even if you unscrew it. And technically, yes, I could probably force the PCB off. I just don't trust myself with putting it back on. So I just fiddle around with the connector there, and it seems to work fine now. But like when we're fighting Sagat, I'm gonna make a freaking BR. I'm actually gonna make a fucking streamer BRB gif, and then just whenever the freaking fight stick decides to shit itself, instead of switching over to the pad again, because I'm like the thing with the pad is that when I get really angry, I start to push the buttons freaking harder because obviously I'm angry, and I don't want another that fucking controller on my hands. Like it's. Like, I don't want to risk freaking damaging the buttons. Is basically what I'm trying to say. Because like I don't press them with enough force, but with Street Fighter 1, the press is maybe rapid enough that I can see it wearing away on the buttons. So yeah. And like I can service the fight stick because it is like it's like relatively easy to understand. I can't get the fucking the PS4 controller apart and then fix it somehow. Like that's very much above my pay grade. Even the fight stick is, but the fight stick is at least like the fight stick was made in the 90s. I don't like it doesn't contain as much small elements. Oh, anyway. So yeah, whenever we're gonna be fighting Sagat, I'm just gonna and it shits itself. I'm just gonna stop the game, go to the BRB, get my fucking screwdriver out, and then just fiddle around with the cables for like 2 seconds, and then plug everything back in, and then we continue.
All right.
And that's all I've done, I think.
All right. I don't think I did too much this week. I'll go ahead and mention something I forgot to mention last week, was something that I did last week. I watched Predator 2 for the first time.
Ah, is that the one with the hunter in the city?
Yes, the City Hunter.
Is that the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, that's the first one.
He doesn't come back in the second?
No, Danny Glover.
Oh, really?
Him. Yeah.
Oh, really?
They even directly say during Predator 2 that Arnie's character went missing after Predator 1.
Ah. Was there a third Predator?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It goes Predator 1, Predator 2, Predators, and then the Predator.
Okay.
You're forgetting the most important part of the series, Alien versus Predator.
One of the classic examples of cool idea and shit execution.
Yeah.
Whose fucking idea was it to put it in modern day? That's what instantly killed it for me. It was like I was like, oh well, I hear the movie's trash, but I bet it's entertaining trash. And I heard they were set in modern day instead of the far future of Alien, and it's like, what the fuck? Why?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
Predator is one of the like it's on the short list of movies that I've actually seen, Predator 1 and 2.
Oh, you've seen both of them.
Yeah. Well, Predator 1 I don't remember most of because I was very small, but Predator 2 I remember more of because I remember thinking that the hunter was really cool.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
It stuck. Like I remember the freaking like I just remember this scene of the Predator with dreadlocks freaking catching a guy with the net and then cutting his neck open or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Predator 1, like, you get to see, like, the Predator. You don't really get to see the Predator until, like, the final battle. And he gets quite a bit of character there. But otherwise, for the most part in Predator 1, what you see is the Predator shimmer, but you don't see the Predator himself getting up to much, right?
Yeah.
Predator 1 is a fantastic movie, like, both as an action movie and as a horror movie. But one of the big selling point for everyone, I think, is, of course, the classic cast. It's fucking Arnie at his height. It's, how am I forgetting his name? I'll look his name up real quick while I do that. It's Jesse Ventura at his height, and Jesse Ventura, of course, is a fucking delight in that movie. He's one of the most enjoyable comedic performances, as far as I care. Carl Weathers is at his height in that movie. It's a great cast. Predator 2 also has a pretty great cast. It's got, instead of those three, I'd say the three showcases here in Predator 2 are Danny Glover, Bill Paxton, and Gary Busey. Now, Gary Busey, I've not seen him in anything else. He seems like he'd wear on the nerves pretty quickly. But for Gary Busey...
I've seen Gary Busey in a movie where he turns into a dog.
Can I just note real quick that 2 out of 3 cast members of the original Predator were the governor of California at one point?
Jesse Ventura was never the governor of California.
That's right.
He was the governor of Minnesota.
Minnesota, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why California would pop in my head.
Funny
I think
story.
Arnie's influence just has too much hold over my brain.
Yeah. Funny story. Have you watched Predator 1, Pink?
Not the whole way through. I've seen most of it, I want to say.
I was about to say, because that movie's very much up your alley. But you remember the Native American member of the squad, right?
Yeah.
Sonny Landham. He tried to follow in Arnold and Jesse's path by also running for governor in a state. And I'm going to pull up the exact quotes of some of the stuff that he said, like on the campaign trail and afterwards. Okay. In 2003, Sonny Landham ran in the Republican Party primary election for the post of the governor of Kentucky. I'm quoting his Wikipedia page here. Hoping to repeat
that's good.
Hoping to repeat the success of his Predator castmates, Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura and California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He based his candidacy, whatever, yada, 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 that stuff, who cares? Okay. Hang on. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. On June 25th, 2008, Landham announced his candidacy for the U.S. Senate held by Mitch McConnell on the Libertarian line. A month later, Landham repeatedly called for genocide against Arabs, to whom Landham referred as, oh boy,
I can imagine.
It's bad. I'll put it in chat, but I'm not comfortable saying it out loud.
Is it the N-word, but with sand in front of it?
No.
Okay.
No, but it was all that.
Ah, yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
On July 28th, the Kentucky Libertarians voted unanimously to withdraw Landham's nomination.
And you can't blame them.
Oh, he also beat his wife earlier than that.
Womp womp.
Great guy.
Married 5 times. I
wow.
gotta say that. Yeah, that one was pretty sad.
It's understandable that more people will leave him, but
yeah,
I don't know how he ever got them to begin with.
Yep. Well, the guy sounds a little bit like Fire and Ice, I guess. But yeah, that bugged the shit out of me when I first found that out 10 years ago, because I thought his character was so cool in Predator, you know.
You're right.
This reminded me, not to go too off topic, but this reminded me of the whole thing going on with David Cage right now.
Yeah.
Is he the video game guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He's.
I'm always slightly in tune with the pulse of society.
David Cage is in the trouble because it turned out that
hang on. Before this, we should go ahead and say what games David Cage made, because Pink may be thinking of a different video game than
Beyond Two Souls, Detroit
Indigo
Become
Prophecy.
Human, Indigo Prophecy, Fahrenheit,
Heavy Souls, Heavy Rain,
Heavy Rain, Omicron.
Okay. So I know what Heavy Rain and the Detroit one are. I've not heard of any of those other ones though.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you've heard of Beyond Two Souls because it was the one that had Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe in it. And when David Cage was casting Ellen Page, he had a complete album of pictures of her throughout the entirety of her life, even going back to when she was a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
And then about a year or two later, someone hacked the game and found out that there was a nude model for Ellen Page in the game's files without her consent.
Mm-hmm.
So, Addie, take it away.
All right, so yeah, David Cage is in the trouble because, as you may know, this is Pride Month. Apparently, I don't know. It seems like every third month we have a Pride Month, but what do I know? Anyway,
it's Pride Month in the States because June 26th is when gay marriage was legalized here.
All right.
And I only know that because it's 4 days after my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Not quite yet, but okay. Thanks anyways.
We're still on like the 5th right now.
Happy birthday. Here, have gay marriage.
Have gay marriage.
Anyway, so yeah.
Are we forcibly marrying him off to somebody, or are we just saying just in general have gay marriage?
Have the
I
concept
mean,
of gay marriage.
I
It is
mean,
now yours. I own it.
I was going with the second one, but considering how I did come on to him that one time, I guess it could go either way. Anyway, now that I think about it, I could have worded that better. But
You know what?
anyway,
this is moderately true.
You know what I actually want to mention about David Cage? Because I want to just get it
Yeah.
out there. So this one isn't like morally disgusting. It's just like one of the definitive quotes that makes David Cage the kind of guy you look at and it's just like, you're a fucking
Yeah.
dumbass. Which is I
Yeah.
want to get this in real quick.
Okay, go ahead,
Around the time of building up the hype for Heavy Rain, he rather infamously said in an interview, while hyping up the fact that Heavy Rain didn't have game overs, and if your character died, the game just kept going without him, said, game overs are a failure of the game designer. So,
Inspirational.
what he's saying is, every video game where there's a game over, the game designers are incompetent, of course. What do you mean the game just doesn't keep going with... What do you mean Mario doesn't just continue with Mario fucking dead?
It's Luigi's job to save the princess now.
As we all know,
What if he dies?
Shigeru Miyamoto doesn't understand the slightest thing of game development or game design.
What a
no.
buffoon that man is.
but yeah, so it's Pride Month, and because of a court case that's going on against David Cage because of things happening at Quantum Dreams. I think that's his freaking studio. I forget. Anyway, so yeah, because of things going on at Quantum Dreams, some of his earlier comments have resurfaced, including, but not limited to, from what I understand, saying that he doesn't make games for the cigarette community.
Yeah, that's a way to phrase that.
Well done, Addy. Well done.
I was also quite fond of there are no tits in the open space. Which, like, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Still trying to figure it out.
That sounds like someone tried to translate Japanese, but failed.
Like, the assumption I think going around right now is that he was saying he was mad because people weren't letting him put titty posters on his walls, but, like, what a weird way of phrasing that. Oh no, my Playboys!
No, David Cage is trying to conjure up flying pairs of tits.
Yeah, that... Oh no. Oh boy, that's disturbing. That's really disturbing.
Like I'm imagining just this like freaking this like it's just literally just two tits held together by like a freaking string of flesh, and then they just flap to the sides to give themselves flying.
Yeah.
That sounds like
a helicopter propeller. You just have one on each side, kind of spin around.
True. They could also use a milk attack then.
What?
Right.
Okay. I'm about to disgust myself here by saying this, but what if it was like, you know that jetpack that works by shooting water out?
Yes. Oh, that what with milk.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to something else.
There's one part in the Ratchet and Clank playthrough where I start going for a joke, and in the middle of the joke, I get cut off because I couldn't finish the joke. It was so freaking like it wasn't even bad. I don't know, but like I was about to ruin my own childhood, I guess. And I just hit a heavy switch off because we were talking about Scooby Doo, and this I had this sticker collection book. Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, shit. So yeah, so we are talking about Scooby Doo, and I used to have this sticker collection book when I was small that contained freaking all of Scooby's family and shit like that. And in that, was also his girlfriend and side chicks.
What?
Yeah, and
I think I said the same thing.
Pink said, "Oh, Scooby-Doo, what a player!" And I was going to say that this is the thing that I caught myself from saying because I couldn't at the time. But like, I was going to say Scooby's too high to know which girl he's fucking.
He's a dog.
Yeah, he's also high.
Oh, okay. I found it. I found the other quotes from David Cage. For one thing, he was apparently stomping while crying in court, screaming, "You are interfering in my business. This case touches my honor."
You.
Anyways, and he also another old quote of his that got dug up and brought up in court is he said, "In my games, all women are whores."
Oh my.
All right.
The guy, every fucking game he makes does inevitably result in the all-female characters just wanting to get dick.
This is true. And looking at that picture you put there in the text chat, I mean, can you imagine anything else coming out of this guy? I can't.
But like
he
Yeah.
very much does seem like the kind of guy that you give him infinite money. He's like, "Oh, can I make the women naked?"
I like how you turned Russian or something.
I don't know what that accent was. I can't do French. Oh man,
But yeah, like
you know what's the worst, and I am still shocked he's managed to get away with it.
Yeah.
The fucking every Metal Gear Solid game has a set a team of elite super guy whatever bosses that you fight over the course of the game, right?
Yeah.
Well, for Metal Gear Solid 4, it's the Beauty and the Beast unit, which is a bunch of it's a bunch of like super hot supermodels who all suffer from bad PTSD and they're wearing mech suits that are supposed to be beastly, right?
Yeah.
Well, all of them at the end of the boss fight, their armor comes off and they come out in super skin tight suits and they talk to Snake about their, like, I don't know, backstories, and then they act real sad and then they die. And I didn't find out until a few months ago, Hideo Kojima had those motion captured by actual naked women.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kojima.
Yeah. Like, Kojima had no right to get so incensed when people told him, "Okay, dude, just be honest about the fact that quiet is your fetish."
Yeah.
And then he did it again with that character in Death Stranding that talks about her fucking boob milk, and it's like, oh!
But anyway, so yeah, yeah.
Is there any more case in game development of Kojima, like any more case in gaming more egregious than Kojima of someone just using their game development money to pay for the shit they like, which in Kojima's case is, of course, famous actors and also naked chicks? Oh,
I mean, in video games, I don't know.
the fucking guy who did the Guy game. Have you guys heard of the Guy game?
I've heard of it, I think.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Do you guys know the circumstances around it?
No.
Yeah. Oh, I know the controversy
Wait.
around it. I don't know
Oh,
what
wait,
the actual circumstances are.
Is that the PS1 game where the freaking they did all of the freaking the Girls Gone Wild thing, and it turned out that the girls may have been like underage or something?
Yes, because several of them were just like on college vacation, right? Spring break.
Ah.
But the bigger thing is, this is the kicker there, is that it was the guy who was at the head of Retro Studios at the time, which had just made Turok 1 and was a big success. Nintendo was paying them loads of cash after bringing them in as a first-party studio, was paying them loads of cash to make a bunch of launch titles for the GameCube, right?
Yeah.
And Nintendo kept asking, like, "Hey guys, what the fuck? Where's the money? We're not seeing any progress with these games, guys." Turned out this guy was pumping the money into, for one thing, the Guy game, and also into making a porn site, which he was running on Nintendo's servers without telling them.
Oh.
What the heck?
Yeah, and like,
If
honestly,
he would have spent that money the way Nintendo wanted him to, the GameCube could have been a huge success. This
I
man
don't
is
know.
to blame for every problem in the world right now.
I don't know, dude.
You want to know the real fucking funny part? A couple of the top Nintendo execs and Shigeru Miyamoto flew all the way out there, fired his ass, took a look at what they were doing at Retro Studios, and it turned out everyone except the head guy was actually like genuinely professional and loved video games. But because they were all being told to work on 4 separate games at once for as of yet unproven software, no one was making any progress. So Shigeru Miyamoto was like, I like you guys, but none of this shit is going to happen. Shigeru Miyamoto on the spot shit-canned on all 4 games they were working on and said, okay, guys, just do something with Metroid. Metroid seems like something that an American dev could handle. You guys do something with Metroid. And Retro Studios then went on to make the Metroid Prime trilogy, one of the most critically beloved series in Nintendo's history.
Alright, so not a complete,
You want to talk about a fucking comeback story?
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about fucking executive incompetence over much better employees. Holy Jesus. Like, that is just astounding. The balls that it takes to take Nintendo's money and just make your stupid porn games where you just go around and be a creep to college girls. Like, holy shit. Those take balls. Also, someone should kill that guy. But it does take balls. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna kill no one. I ain't gonna have blood on my hands. But if the Punisher were real, you know, someone should send him a letter. Anyways, what were we talking about? What the fuck were we talking about?
Predator.
Yes, holy shit, how did we get so...
Sexual predator, David Cage.
This took a turn.
This sexual predator. I hate that. Okay, so Predator 2. Predator 1 is a fantastic movie from beginning to end, and it goes through a lot of big changes, but I think the changes really work. Like, both Predator movies center around having a, like, oh, look, you know, it's this, but then it's a red herring, right? Predator 1, it's like, oh, they're going out to kill, like, Colombian drug cartels. No. And then Predator 2, they're like, oh, they're fighting gangbangers. No. In both cases, the Predator is the real threat. Predator 1, it's a lot of fun, partly because, like, the Colombian drug cartel is horribly outmatched. And they just get fucking annihilated in one of the most iconic action scenes in history, which, of course, you know, the classic Arnie, you know, stick around. And Jesse Ventura's good old, I ain't got time to bleed, and all that. And then the Predator shows up, fucking immediately annihilates Shane Black and Jesse Ventura in the same scene, and everyone's like, holy shit, man! And that was what was really cute about Predator 1, is that they just dominate so hard, but the Predator is just way out of their league, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it establishes just how fucking serious the Predator is.
Oh, yeah, you know it's serious when Jesse Ventura goes down.
Yeah, when he's the second to go. Not even one of the last ones to go. He's the second to go.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, I think he's the first that they notice go, because Shane Black gets killed when no one's looking, and they don't even figure out he's missing until, like, later they find part of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, is he the guy that just gets picked up like from the back of the line?
Yeah, the douchebag that Predator copies his laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, him. And Predator 2, it's a bit different, because it's a crack squad of detectives fighting against gangbangers. And even then, they make it pretty clear that the detectives are outmatched by the gangbangers. So it's like, okay, well, we're operating with an entirely different setup here. These guys are clearly outmatched by the Predator.
They're unmatched from the get-go.
Yeah. And boy, are they. Because, like, instead of watching the Predator butcher his way through the Special Forces team, we watch him butcher a lot of gangbangers. And then he kills pretty much all the detectives except for Danny Glover. The first half of Predator 2 is a bit too slow. The whole movie is shot like a TV movie, which I think is one of its biggest problems. The acting in the first half of the movie is really goofy because while Danny Glover's a good actor, Bill Paxton is a fantastic actor, whoever is in the Predator suit does a great job, but all the actors playing gangbangers are fucking walking comedies. especially especially the leader of the Jamaican gang, who comes out and gives a simultaneous speech that with like the most fucked up mixed aspects of voodoo and Rastafarianism, despite the fact that voodoo was Haitian.
I was about to ask, is there even any connection between Jamaican voodoo?
No.
I didn't think so.
So all that goofy shit happens, but once the gangbangers are all dead, once all the detectives but Danny Glover are dead, that's when the real movie starts. And Predator 2 had some balls, because it looked at Predator 1's like final, I'd say, I don't know, 20 minutes are the showdown between Arnie and the Predator, right?
Yeah.
And Predator 2, they're like, fuck that. Here's an entire hour, pretty well, of Danny Glover versus the Predator. And it's the best. Like, that entire... It's almost like how Mad Max Fury Road is one long chase scene. Like, the back half of Predator 2 is just one long duel between Danny Glover's character and the Predator. And it's awesome, because they kind of feel like they're equally matched, but in the way that they're just both tough bastards who refuse to die. And they both just keep having moments of like, seriously? You're just gonna walk that off? And to the movie's credit, it doesn't feel like ridiculous invincibility. It feels like, no, these characters are just so that pissed that they're going to ignore it. Both the Predator and Danny. And by the time they get to the end, Danny's pretty well just walking out broken. And it's like, yeah, that's understandable.
They need to make Batman vs. Predator into a movie.
That would be awesome, but at the same time, I think Batman vs. Predator is a little too similar to Predator 2. Because it's still got the core premise of the Predator goes around killing gangbangers.
Okay, here it is. We do all of the crossovers that could make sense. Batman versus Predator versus TMNT.
Versus Superman versus the Terminator versus Alien.
Yeah, just make the ultimate
WrestleMania main event.
Just make the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny into a movie.
Yeah. Like, I'm being honest. Like, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are kind of outclassed there, but still not as outclassed as Archie versus the Predator, and that happened.
Ah, yeah.
Why would the Predator even go after Archie? He's not armed.
But he is dangerous.
Oh, I didn't think about that. But
Archie's not armed, because if he were, he would be called Armchie.
Predator 2 is definitely not as good at Predator 1. God damn it only connected as I was in the middle of saying that. Predator 2 is not as good as Predator 1, but it's still, like, the first half is an enjoyably cheesy bad movie, and then it gets unironically good in the back half. Danny Glover is a delight throughout the movie, the action scenes feel really good, and Predator 2 does way more for world building than Predator 1 does. Predator 1, near the end, we pick up on, like, the Predator is an alien, the Predator is honorable, the Predator is intelligent and has a sense of, at least, humor, and a sense of, like, antagonism. The Predator in Predator 2 is much more aggressive and much more loaded with personality. And I believe the way they really show this is that Danny Glover takes off his mask very early on in the fight, and you expect that to be the end of the fight scene, because in Predator 1, you don't get to see the Predator's real face until the very end of the fight scene, right? And it's, of course, you are one ugly motherfucker. And Danny, the great thing is, Danny Glover even starts saying, you are one ugly motherfucker. And then the Predator jumps up and fucking pretty well suplexes him.
Nice.
And the Predator, I think, even says, like, then responds with the Predator voice, like, or I don't know if it's weird. Okay, Predator 1 made it seem like when the Predators spoke, they were using recordings of humans. But the Predator 2 makes it seem like, no, Predators just naturally are capable of imitating human language that they hear. Like birds, like, those birds that can imitate chainsaws?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, because the Predator loses its mask and still can say some of the things it's heard. Because after it suplexes him, it then repeats Bill Paxton earlier in the movie saying, shit happens. Oh man, and of course the really great part of Predator 2 is when Danny wins at the very end. Which this movie is 30 fucking years old. I don't care if I spoil it. When Danny wins at the
Dare
end,
you?
and all the other Predators suddenly come out of the woodwork, and Danny's immediate reaction is like, "Oh fuck it, just kill me already." And then it turns out, "Oh no, we're not here to kill you. As a matter of fact, that was pretty slick what you did. We respect that. We're going to take our buddy here to go respectfully bury him back on his home planet. Here, take this as a souvenir." And the oldest Predator with like the grayest dreadlocks throws a fucking flintlock pistol at him that's gold engraved for the year 1759 or something. And Danny Glover just goes, "What the fuck?" And that really built the Predator narrative of like, not only are they intelligent, but they have been around for a long time, expressly just hunting humans for fun.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. On PC, I don't think I played much of anything. No, not really. Yeah, I just put some time into Lego World, same as usual. Yada, yada, yada. Nothing unusual. On PlayStation, I have almost got Jack and Dexter for the PS2 beaten. And I gotta say, that game is... It's good. It's different, though. If you come at it from the perspective of modern platformers, you're going to have a rough time because inputs are a lot tighter in that game. Input windows are a lot tighter in that game. But once you get used to it, you can really work with it. What else do I want to particularly say about it? It's weird going back and playing it now, because when I was, like, for the entire first 10 years of my life, I was playing through the first third of that game over and over and over again, because when I was a kid, for the first, probably wasn't until I was 8 years old that we got a memory card for the PS2. So, there was about a solid 2 or 3 years on the PS2 that just outright couldn't save whenever you played games. Which,
Oh man.
yeah, that's funny to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was pretty well like I was playing the NES, just however much progress you make, that's however much progress you make today, but not tomorrow, bitch.
Uh-huh.
And whenever you beat a game, you had to do it in one long run. I remember we rented when I was like 3 or 4 years old, we rented a video game of The Incredibles. And me and my mom, way back when, stayed up all night to try and beat it. Because, if we stopped, that was it. It was gone.
Yeah.
So, and even when I got a memory card, I would still have, like, memory cards had really fucking limited space for the PS2. I don't know if either of you guys remember, but, like...
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I didn't have a memory card, and I basically we stole from each other, but technically we traded. I gave a guy my anime magazines, and he gave me a 32 megabyte PS2 memory card. It worked out. Like he asked to borrow my anime magazines, and I was like, cool. And he also like freaking like. To make sure that that we change the stuff back, he gave me his memory card, from what I remember, or something like that. And then he never gave me the magazines back, so I never gave him the memory card back.
Fair. That was the idea of the deal, so yeah, it worked out. What was I gonna say? Right, I think the memory cards I had on PS2 were the smaller 8 megabyte ones, because like,
Yep.
PS2 save files were so tiny. Like, they are astronomically tiny by modern standards. Like, the smallest saves you'll see on a PS4 or PS5 game are, like, a couple megabytes, right?
Yeah.
But, like, a PS2 save, like, you could see the sizes of the files, and it would be, like, 300 kilobytes. But I could only have the saves for, like, 20 games on my memory card before it'd be going, "Oh, fuck this, delete something, please."
Yep.
So, there just wasn't space for Jak and Daxter when there were much bigger games like Bully or Soul Calibur 3 that I had to keep save files for,
Mm-hmm. It's funny that you mentioned Soul Calibur 3, because I remember I needed to get an entirely new memory card for that, because
Yeah.
I could not have Soul Calibur 3 on the same memory card as all my SmackDown games and probably GTA 3. I think I needed a new memory card just for GTA San Andreas and Soul Calibur 3 by their lonesome.
Man, old tech fucking sucked.
Those were wild times.
Like, yeah, now when I'm like, oh, I need to clear up some space on the old hard drive on PS4, I'll be like, oh, well, I could probably delete some save files. That would save me some space. I just need to clear up a few gigabytes. And then I go and it says, all save files on your PS4 amount to about 200 megabytes. Oh, well. Let me just get on that, you know. That'll really help. Okay, so making progress in Jak and Daxter. I was rather pleased. Jak and Daxter has really cool level design that I never quite appreciated when I was a kid. It reminded me a lot of God save my soul here. The level design reminded me a lot of Dark Souls.
Jak and Daxter is the Dark Souls of the early 2000s 3D platformer collectathons.
So Jak and Daxter is not as hard as Dark Souls. What I mean is, Dark Souls likes to have level design that is very, that makes good use of both verticality and horizontality, I guess. And there's a lot of, like, a level will have many dimensions to it, and there will be shortcuts between the areas of the level. And also, another cute thing from Dark Souls that was present here, earlier here, Jak and Daxter did it first. Take that, Dark Souls.
Permadeath.
Yeah, permadeath. That's goddamn right. If you die, Jak dies forever, and you have to go back, start a new fucking game.
You have to buy a new copy of the game.
Daxter just needs to collect a new host.
Yeah, you have to buy another copy of the game.
Oh god, the dumbest idea I've ever heard of in game design.
You know they'd do it if they could.
Well, I forget what game it was that they suggested doing that. Souls didn't suggest doing that. For Dark Souls 2, the B team at FromSoft was like, hey, we should make it where it deletes your save file if you die too many times without unhollowing yourself. But the rest of the design, I guess whoever was in charge at A team went and told them, fuck no, don't do that. Which, I gotta be honest, I like Dark Souls 2 a lot. I love parts of Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2, the B team fucked up a lot of stuff. But anyways, to get back to it, something that Jak and Daxter beat Dark Souls 1 to the punch to is, from any of the levels in Jak and Daxter that have sight of the surrounding area, you can see the other levels in the distance. And, like, there's a mountain in the third stretch of the game. And when you're up there, from there, you can look back and see the two previous hub areas and their connected levels. And that's really sick.
That is really cool.
And that was always one of my favorite things in Dark Souls 1 and 3 and Bloodborne that Dark Souls 2 also fucked up, was that in that game, like especially as you got near the end, you could look back and see the levels you've been through. And sometimes you got to see the levels ahead of time by just looking up, you know, or looking down sometimes.
Yeah.
And the last thing in particular I want to say about Jak and Daxter is... Oh, well, I guess I got two more things to say about Jak and Daxter. Is it, for one thing, Daxter was not very enjoyable in Jak and Daxter 1. He's very annoying. I will say it's because I think it's because he's a comedy relief in a game that's already fairly light and comedic, and it did not need an explicit comedic relief character. It's the kind of game where everyone should be partly funny, you know? And when you have a character who is 100% funny all the time, it just feels a bit odd. And his lines are very annoying. And there's a particular thing they do where if you die to something that isn't like lava or something, then you get a special, like, little game over thing of Daxter getting in Jak's face and saying, hey, try not to die again, dumb fuck, or something like that. And then it goes back to a checkpoint.
Ah, yeah, Omo Chow.
And that feels really annoying because Daxter is quite clearly taunting you for dying every time you do that. And what ran through my head was, Rocksteady must have noticed this because they very clearly did the same thing in the Arkham series, but instead when you die, the villains get in your face and taunt you. And that works a lot better. Because, yeah, when I die, I don't want Daxter getting in my face, who's supposed to be, like, my character's best friend going, ah, sucker! Works a lot better when it's Two-Face going, like, I knew you'd slip up someday, bats! And the other thing I wanted to say was, while Jak and Daxter is kind of a collectathon, one thing I've noticed is that there is a, like, the collectathon has generally become kind of a byword for bad game design, and I understand why, because it is kind of getting into that Skinner box thing of just like, here's a treat, go get it, right?
Yep.
But it's like, I think there's an unrespected aspect there of, like, it motivates the player to do things and try things they wouldn't ordinarily, because the player will often have those times where they're like, well, I could go play that fun game over there, but what if it's not fun? I'll just move on, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing that's specifically not respected about Jak and Daxter is it's a collectathon that doesn't require you to actually collect all the plot vital bits. Like, the game will explicitly say, like, hey, you just need 70 of the not jiggies to proceed to the final boss. And, like, I've got, like, 86 right now, so there's a solid fucking 16 of the jiggies that you could just skipped. And several of the jiggies you just pay with cash if you want to. So there's, again, I hate to just use Dark Souls as a byword here, but there's that Dark Souls approach of, there is a definite thing that you need to go and beat that is the main plot line, but otherwise there's a lot of freedom in choice of what do you want to bother doing. Do you want to do everything, or do you just want to do the bare minimum and then proceed to beat the game, right?
Right.
Which is really cool. I like that. Especially, like, it's kind of a recognition that while the not jiggies are supposed to motivate you to go and play the new, like, oh, here's a section where you're riding a motorcycle jet thing. Here's a section where you're jumping up and down on a ski lift or something, right? But at the same time, if you're on a repeat playthrough, there are some bits of the game that you're like, pass. And you can absolutely just do that. I've got one last thing to say, which is Jak and Daxter, I think, was the franchise that was the definitive example of vehicle sections in non-vehicle games, which in most games is a very bad thing, right? Mass Effect 1 is probably the most iconic example of...
I don't know, there's also Crash.
Crash had vehicle sections?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, the example I always see thrown around is Mass Effect 1 for bad vehicle sections in games that desperately did not need them. And I think why there were so many shitty vehicle sections in so many games is because Jak and Daxter has vehicle sections and they're actually a lot of fun. And in fact, Jak's 1 through 3 had so much fun vehicle sections that for the last Jak game that was made by Naughty Dog, they just straight up went, fuck it, we're just gonna make a vehicular combat game because people like our vehicle sections that much. And yeah, again, it turned out good, so hey. And then Naughty Dog said, alright, we've had it with making enjoyable games. On to Uncharted and Last of Us. I kid. I've not put enough time into Uncharted, and I quite liked Last of Us 1, but I think that you'd be foolish to pretend that Last of Us 1 is not a definite flawed game. And there are a lot of people who put Last of Us 1 on a pedestal and go, oh, they betrayed us with Last of Us 2, and I'm like, did they really?
No, it's just as bad. Like,
honestly, the thing that people get mad about with Last of Us 2, I don't get, because Last of Us 1 makes it pretty clear that that's what the next inevitable step was in the story. Like,
I don't know, there used to be a time when I liked Last of Us 1's story, and then I grew like 3 years older.
Yeah. I still like the section where you play as Ellie, and I still like the finale. Like,
I genuinely don't think I like any part of Last of Us. Just like the whole thing.
What I like is the back third, because you're no longer playing as Joel sitting in an ambiguous state. You either play as Ellie, who is far more heroic and sympathetic, and then you switch to Joel, who has gone fully off into the deep end into villain territory, right? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Fireflies fucked up a lot of things, but, like, what Joel did was blatantly selfish, regardless. How many innocent people did Joel kill at the end of Last of Us 1? So, I mean, when people, like, threw piss and shit fits that, like, oh, fuck it, I don't care. The Last of Us 2's been out for a year. When people threw piss and shit fits that Last of Us 2's, like, plot-driving event is Joel getting killed because he killed a lot of innocent people and someone who was close to an innocent person he killed came back and killed him. I'm like, yeah, that's the next natural step in how you write this kind of story. These kinds of stories have themes they're supposed to teach. And what this is supposed to teach is don't abuse innocent people. Hell, just don't abuse people altogether if you can help it. Because everybody's got loved ones and they will come for your ass. Like, Joel just suffers the consequences of his own actions, but because it was done to him by a muscular chick, I guess, like, 4chan just blew their fucking assholes out of their mouths.
But that and people also are just, like, really sick of revenge bad right now.
Right, but here's the thing. Last of Us isn't an example of revenge bad. What I think, like, the badly written revenge storyline is when they say, "Oh, revenge feels empty," and it's like, that's not really meaningful, because that's just them telling us of a feeling, right? Like, I mean, the only times, like, a character deriving feelings from revenge have actually, like, been meaningful have been the few times where revenge was meaningful, right? Watch Dogs 1 and JoJo's Part 3, both of those are examples of stories where a character does get revenge, and afterwards it's like, that's fucking awesome, that guy deserved it, I'm glad I fucking got my revenge, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But, like, as opposed to, let's say, GTA 4, where the character gets revenge, and it's like, well, you know, it's not very interesting, right? I think Red Dead 2 and Last of Us both very much do good jobs of handling revenge as a negative thing, but in different ways, right? Because with Red Dead, it's clear, like, John should have known there would be consequences to seeking revenge on Micah. Like, Abigail explicitly tells him, there's a price on all of our heads, dumbass. You can't just go and kill one of the most prolific gangsters in the entirety of America right now without drawing attention back to yourself. Which John then goes and kills Micah anyways, and surprise, yeah, the FBI, or, well, not the FBI yet, but the proto-FBI are like, hey, this guy and his entire fucking gang got murked by one dude. We should probably look into that. And Last of Us is, like, for one thing, the revenge doesn't work because Abigail was in the right. And for another thing, it makes it clear that revenge is bad because people have loved ones. That's why things don't work out for Abigail either, because she sought revenge against Joel, and that results in Ellie coming after her and ruining so many things. Because Abigail seeking revenge just wound up inspiring revenge in someone else, right? Like,
yeah.
cycle of revenge stories work way better than just saying revenge is bad because it feels empty, right? Because even if revenge actually does feel empty, very few people are ever going to truly feel revenge in a serious way beyond just meaningless pranks and, like, oh, fucking somebody over for a job promotion or something, right?
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of us are not going to get into nobody of us are going to hunt down the guy who killed our daughter or something, right? So
You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't say that's on my agenda, but
I said the majority of us. I said the majority of us.
One
If the majority of
us
us are hunting after the killers of our dead children, that would be something must have happened.
we all become Liam Neeson.
But, like, I think anyone can easily understand, like, revenge doesn't work because that just means that like, that guy that you killed now has, like, his best friend or his brother or something. It's like, they killed him! Oh, I'll get my revenge! And it's like, well, shit, now the shoe's on the other foot, ain't it? Which, I mean, No More Heroes 2 also worked along that idea, and again, I think that was a smart choice there, even if you think that No More Heroes 2 went a little bit too hard along that whole rail there. Which I have to wonder with No More Heroes 3 if they're gonna, again, like, show, like, yeah, Travis, you probably shouldn't have done that again. Which, I haven't been paying attention to the marketing for No More Heroes 3. All I hear is a very surprising reveal of, which, Addy, you give a shit about No More Heroes, right?
Kinda, yeah.
So, No More Heroes 3, Travis has a kid.
Ah,
Uh-huh. I gotta say, even though it's become the whole new trend of, the dad game, I was kind of shocked by that, because Travis is kind of a fucking loser.
yeah, that's his character.
But now that I think about it, Suda51 loves to take whatever trends are popular in video games and then kind of play with them. So I wonder if Suda's intentionally trying to play with The Last of Us, Dad of War kind of thing, right?
Maybe.
That'll be interesting to see. Anyways, that's the extent of what I got to talk about. And there's, if... Oh, no, never mind. Anyways, I say we could call that a podcast.
Bye.
Addy, what say you? Other than bye, of course. Can we call this a podcast?
I already talked.
No, but can we call this a podcast?
Mayhaps.
Mayhap.
We require 2 out of 3 votes. Pink, how do you feel? You are the tiebreaker.
I'm gonna need a second to think about this.
Oh, shit.
Okay, yeah, I thought about it. I think we're gonna call it a podcast. I vote in favor.
All right, then. Podcast adjourned.